Hare Krishna, Namaste, Chapter 18, which is entitled as Sannyasa Yoga. Sloka 30. pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca kāryākārye bhayābhaye bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ ca ya vetti buddhiḥ sa pārtha sāttvikī. A deep analytical study, a knowledge which is free of doubts, is said to be buddhi. Knowledge about Achit, Chit, Ishvara, matter, spirit and God. That buddhi is classified into three based on the three modes. In this sloka, we'll learn about sāttvika buddhi. In this, 8 factors are mentioned. They are paired and grouped into 4. pravṛttiṁ, nivṛttiṁ, kāryākārye, bhayābhaye, bandhaṁ, mokṣaṁ. If the knowledge satisfies these 4 groups, then it is said sāttvika buddhi. Now let's learn the meaning of the sloka. Pārtha, O Arjuna, son of Pṛthā, pravṛttiṁ ca, the activity, that is dharma, which is the means for rewards other than liberation. The rewards that's other than liberation can only be earthly gains, the material benefits that derived through some activity, karma mentioned in the scriptures. This includes digging of well, building temple, giving charity, feeding people, clothing as donation, etc. By doing these things, one gets some material benefits. One desire for material benefits by doing these things. The same activities can also become nivṛtti dharma. We'll learn about it later. Nivṛttiṁ ca, the action, dharma, which leads to liberation. pravṛttiṁ involves material gains, whereas nivṛttiṁ involves spiritual gains. Kāryākārye ca, also which ought to be done and which ought not to be done at particular places and times. Those who are engaged in pravṛtti or nivṛtti, what is doable and what is not doable is what mentioned here as karya and akarya. For example, one should not take grains if he is fasting on Ekadashi. On other days, one can consume grains. Here, akarya is not to take grains on Ekadashis. Karya is on other days, the restriction is not there. If one desire, one can take the grains. Likewise, those who are involved in pravṛtti marga, what are the things can be done during their activities to achieve their desired result, and what are the things one should not do during their karma to achieve their desired result. Likewise, for those who are nivṛtti marga, what are the things they can do during their process, and what are the things not to be done, are mentioned as kāryākārye ca. Next, bhayābhaye, the source of fear and fearlessness. We saw 2 marga, pravṛtti marga, nivṛtti marga. Pravṛtti marga, where one follows the dharma mentioned in the scripture to attain material benefits. Nivṛtti marga is those who follows the dharma mentioned in the scripture to attain liberation. For those who are in the path of pravṛtti, what could be the bhaya, fear for that person, and what could be abhaya for that person? Likewise, those who are in nivṛtti marga, what could be the fear for him, and what makes him fearless? That is said here as bhayābhaye. For example, those who are in pravṛttiṁ marga will be fearful if any mistakes that could happen while they are performing their karma. Mistake could happen through 3 ways: kriya lobha, mantra lobha, dravya lobha. Meaning there could be mistake in the procedures that they are doing, there could be mistake in the mantra that they are chanting, there could be mistake in the ingredients that's been used. A person performs a yagya to obtain something. So the procedure could go wrong, the mantra could go wrong, the articles that are used for the homa, yagya, may also be of some mistakes. Whereas those on the path of nivṛttiṁ marga will not be fearful of any of these things, because they are not doing for any material benefits, but there will be a fear of swatantriya, thinking that they are doing individually, independently, with their skills, their power. Possibility of thinking oneself to be the protector besides Ishvara, God, because the swatantriya abhimana will become an enemy for nivṛtti marga. So this swatantriya becomes the cause of the fear. Likewise, the lobha, kriya lobha, mantra lobha, dravya lobha, becomes a cause of the fear. They don't become the fear itself, they become the cause of the fear. Bandhaṁ, bondage. Mokṣaṁ cha, the nature of liberation. Ya, the intellect which vetti, knows. Sa buddhiḥ, that intellect, sāttvikī, is sāttvikī, in the mode of goodness. Translation: O son of Pṛthā, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. We should know that both pravṛttiṁ and nivṛttiṁ falls under dharma if it is followed as per the scripture. Pravṛttiṁ dharma is which yields worldly benefits either in this world or in the higher planets like heaven. Activity that propelled by desire for its fruit, that is called pravṛttiṁ dharma, which earns some rewards, material rewards, money, house, extended happiness in heavenly planets, etc. are the examples of pravṛttiṁ. Nivṛttiṁ dharma, which means liberation, it's opposite of pravṛttiṁ dharma. It has no connection to the worldly rewards, happiness, pleasure, etc. This activity is undertaken only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, with no other desire for any other fruits. Therefore, both are considered dharma. Working and earning money in a proper means is also dharma. Only sāttvika buddhi will help one to do such things. If a person is not having sāttvika buddhi, we are going to see in the next sloka, they will find any means to earn money, not necessarily as prescribed in the Shastra. Therefore, those activities does not fall under sāttvika buddhi. Sāttvika buddhi means earning money in proper means as it is prescribed in the scripture. If one does that, then it is sāttvika buddhi. It falls under pravṛttiṁ dharma. It is said in the scripture that Brahma instructed to his praja, his citizens, the pravṛttiṁ marga. Lord Narayana instructed to Nara about the nivṛttiṁ marga. Kāryākārye, which is independent of pravṛttiṁ and nivṛttiṁ, is based on persons, varna and ashrama in life. What to do, what not to do is based on a particular place and time. For example, a brahmana should do certain activities that is different from kshatriya. Kshatriya should not be doing things that meant for brahmana. We will study about these things in future slokas, but This falls under kāryākārye, what to do, what not to do, based on one's class and stations in life, varna and ashrama. Another example, a grahastha means wife and children, which is allowed, whereas sannyasi should be free of such family relationship. Grahasthas are allowed to have some comforts and some pleasures mentioned in the scriptures, but that is not allowed for brahmacharis. Sannyasis should not earn money. Grahasthas should earn money to maintain their family. These are called kāryākārye. Bhayābhaye. When we follow the instructions of the Lord, then there is no chance for one to get fear. The fear comes when we do not abide to the instructions of the Lord. Fear arises. If we follow the Shastras, there should be no fear. If we not, obviously we will be fearful of the outcome. As we get distance from Krishna, fear increases proportionately. When we get closer to Krishna, fear reduces proportionately. Therefore, when we think of our dosha, our faults, we are fearful. When we think of Krishna's qualities, gunas, we become fearless. So here, bhayābhaye means one should become shameful for not following the instructions mentioned in the Shastra. Rather, we become shameful if we don't have an expensive car, a big house, good-looking spouse. But in reality, none of these are worth to be shameful of, fearful of. Rather, we should be shameful and fearful for not following the instruction given in the Shastra. That we don't really care of is a pathetic situation among us. The last set is bandhaṁ, mokṣaṁ cha. This world constantly goes through changes. That is the nature of this world. Nothing is permanent. Everything keeps changing. That includes our own body. What is that binds us into this world is referred here as bandhaṁ, bondage. What is that nature which releases us from this world is termed here as mokṣaṁ. Therefore, one should have a complete knowledge of this world. When we say complete knowledge of this world, not about the current affair that's happening in the world, the political things, the war between countries, not about those things. Well, having knowledge about those things will also help to see the problems of this world. Samsara means always problem, with little happiness. Likewise, having knowledge of the spiritual world is also very important. What is that we need to know about material world and spiritual world? Why even we need to know about these things? Because there are many different schools of thoughts. They have their own opinions. Some say there is no God. It is only prakriti and jivatma, matter and spirit, that exist. They work together and makes things happen. Another school of thought says one has to become like a rock in their consciousness. That is called moksha. Whereas others say continuous travel upward. The Atma continues traveling upward with no end point. That is called moksha. Atma realization itself moksha. You just realize that you're Atma. That is moksha. Realizing Brahman and Atma is one and the same is called moksha. This is another school of thought. Whereas another school of thought says that becoming sunya, zero, non-existence is called moksha. So we have seen pravṛttiṁ nivṛtti, kāryākārye, bhayābhaye, bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ. Sāttvikā buddhi is that intellect which correctly understands these 8 things as they are supposed to be understood. Again, it is not the buddhi that understands, because buddhi is achita, it cannot understand. But the person who possesses the buddhi, the knowledge, understands what are these 8 things. Having a clear understanding about pravṛttiṁ, nivṛttiṁ, kāryākārye, bhayābhaye, bandhaṁ and mokṣaṁ. Pravṛttiṁ means activity which yields worldly results. Nivṛttiṁ means activity which leads to liberation. Kāryā means what activities ought to be done. Akārya means what activity ought not to be done, depending on the place and time. Bhaya means what activity would be source of fear. Abhaya means what action would promote fearlessness. Bandhaṁ means knowing the nature of bondage. Moksha means knowing the nature of liberation. That intellect which grasps these correctly as they are is said to be sāttvika buddhi. Again, the buddhi does not grasp, it is the Atma which possesses the buddhi grasps it. The reason it is said buddhi understands is for the sake of telling, because it is close to the person who really understands it, that is Jivatma. It is said as aupacharika. Aupacharikam means we call Valmiki Bhagavan, but Valmiki is not Bhagavan, but it is said out of respect. Likewise, when we hear that buddhi understands, buddhi cannot understand, as we already gone through this in our introductory during the course of studying about jnana, because jnana is achita. Buddhi and jnana are one and the same. Therefore, buddhi also does not have the sense of understanding it is buddhi, it is jnana. It is a person who has the buddhi understands it. To conclude, sāttvika buddhi is that buddhi which completely understands these differences and what they are: pravṛttiṁ, nivṛttiṁ, kāryākārye, bhayābhaye, bandhaṁ and mokṣaṁ. In our next session, we'll learn about rājasak buddhi. Pravṛttiṁ ca nivṛttiṁ ca, kāryākārye bhayābhaye, bandhaṁ mokṣaṁ ca ya vetti, buddhiḥ sā pārtha sāttvikī. Namaste. Hare Krishna.